Brandon, we were already laughing before we hit the record button because I was put on the spot for one of my most famous things that I do, and that is my way with words. We'll see if I can say it correctly, but how you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing awesome, and I think it's becoming our calling card because everybody's starting to catch on that John might have a little backstory with history about trying to pronounce words and people's names. So
The
um,
worst part is
I,
I
like,
put
I
it out
like
there,
it.
and I think I make it worse.
I think so too because I think all our guests they listen, they pay attention. They're like, if I've got one of those names that might throw a little wrench in there, then yeah, I'm going to put him on the spot. I like it.
Well, hell, I mean, me trying to say sherry cask one time went terribly wrong, so I don't think it has to be that difficult of a name.
That is
So,
that is true. That is true.
but we're having another flight night. We got a cool guest. He's the co-founder, do it all extraordinaire. I'm going to throw the extraordinaire in there for him because in case I mess up his name, of New Era Whiskey, which is based out of Kentucky. Let's welcome in Zane Brammell.
You did it.
Welcome.
You did it.
Congrats,
Keep
John.
Yeah,
renowned
thanks for
name.
having me. First off,
That NBA is really paying off.
I'm only half a semester in, and that's math.
See, hey, it works.
That is true. That is true. Well, Zane, we're happy to have you, man. Like I said, you've been into this, with New Era Whiskey for just a little while, and we'll get into that story of how it all came to be. But it is a flight night, so let's take. We always like to just hop right in the first pour. Now these are all single barrels, and I believe 8 years. Is that correct?
correct.
Awesome, awesome, and single barrel proof. So the first one is known as Nature's Crossing at Natural Bridge, coming in at 115 proof.
I'm excited to try all these.
It would have been smart for me to have that pre-poured, but I didn't. and I love our little sample bottles. It's a
Yeah, the
very,
sample bottles are really cool.
I love that.
Probably one
Nicest
of the
ones.
coolest, nicest
Yeah.
ones, honestly, that we've got. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. So, before we get into why we're sipping and trying to get our minds right, tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into the world of bourbon. Give us the rundown of you. Give us a Zane.
Yeah. So first off, I want to start with I'm a little congested.
Uh,
I have been yesterday and
It's
today,
okay.
so if I sound a little funky, I apologize. But
That's all right. It's
thanks.
okay. It is the
So
season.
yeah, absolutely. Hoping this clears it up though. Um, so I started my first barrel club back in 2022. Um, Prior to that, I had occasionally sipped whiskey and kind of explored the communities on the various social media platforms. Um, but one of our local liquor stores had kind of explained like what a barrel club did, and that was going to select single barrels, and that was giving groups the opportunity to kind of slap their name to something, right, and offer it to their members and kind of again build that community up. And I fell in love with that idea. So my first barrel club launched in 22, and from that, we would just go do assorted single barrel picks, different distilleries.
Mhm.
Something that we made it fun. Obviously we couldn't afford to front the cost of a barrel pick, right? So to get people engaged and to get people really kind of interested in what we were doing, we would run like pre-sales for our bottles. And so if you pre-bought a bottle, your name was entered into a randomizer to come on the barrel pick with us.
Nice.
And so the thought behind that one was, of course, trying to help us, ensure that the barrel pick was going to work. But it also gave just random people the opportunity to help pick a barrel, which I don't think a lot of people get to do.
Mm-mm.
And so, the most like interesting story was we had a guy drive up from like southern Texas one time, just out of nowhere. Like he won the giveaway and he was like, cool, what day? And I'm like, 2 days from now, you know, can you make it or whatever? And he was like, yeah, I'll hop in the car tomorrow morning. And so in my head, I'm like, whoa, 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 what do you mean? We have 2 days. And then he explained, like I'm driving up from Texas. And, like just that sort of camaraderie, around the community that whiskey seems to have. And I fell in love with that. So, beyond that, we continued picking barrels through 23 and the start of 24. And we flew out and did a barrel pick with another group that we were kind of, buddies with. And basically on the flight home, we just kind of had the conversation of, we're already picking barrels of other people's liquid. And, and at the end of the day, we were slapping, our name on the back or what have you. But it was, how can you take this a step further and take this barrel club and make it, a brand? And that's kind of what birthed New Era. That was in April of 24. We started finally getting things together late summer of 24. And our first release didn't come out until November. I had to meet that barrel club the week of the day before Thanksgiving with their barrel pick. So if that doesn't kick off a holiday season, I don't know what else will.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to do it.
Right. And that just kind of launched us. And I think I'll let you all chime in. But coming from a barrel club, like that part of the community, the idea behind New Era really is the community aspect that I think tends to maybe be forgotten despite, the COVID time. Like that's what built whiskey, right? Like really the community back up. And so you're still seeing those Facebook groups. You're still seeing Discord groups. And that's what carries brands at this point. I mean, that's what's hot or not, right? Mm-hmm. And so the idea behind New Era was to try to find a way to take a whiskey club, make it a brand, and basically just mesh the two together so that they ride, off into the sunset harmoniously. But
I like it.
Thank you.
And so I know you put out some releases, with those clubs and other things, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, are these your first, these are your first ones that are actually getting out into the world, right? Like that is not part of kind of a club. Am I right on that or wrong?
Correct. So, our launch product November through, I want to say February of 25, were those 15 and 16-year-old, everybody refers to them as buff turkeys. Let me go ahead and preface, it was just dumb luck. We'd finally gotten our labels done, and we were like, okay, we need to, bankroll a few barrels. We need to figure out kind of where we're going with the brand. And those fell into our lap. But I'll touch back on that in a minute. So these barrels in particular that you guys were trying, those were our first statewide release, our public release. With that, we wanted to do 3 separate single barrels, notating 3 separate national parks, or statewide parks for the state of Kentucky. I grew up in eastern Kentucky, kind of in Appalachia, and I spent a lot of time outdoors.
What part?
I'm from Carter County.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in southeastern Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I grew up in.
I was born in West Virginia, but
John's area.
Before I made Lexington and Kentucky home, West Virginia was where I called home and still claim it today.
Absolutely. I was born in Huntington, so
okay. Nice. Do you know Jesco?
Not everyone knows everyone in West Virginia. There are enough people in West Virginia.
Yeah.
The wild and wonderful whites of West Virginia.
Yes, classic. I do know that.
Classic. Yeah.
But I guess back to the Kentucky releases. It was to try to find a way to honor, the beauty that is Kentucky. And you see a lot of Kentucky bourbon bottles have horses. You see Keeneland gets a lot of love, which as it deserves.
Right.
But there's and I cannot think of his name, and I had it written down. I'll have to look for it. But there's a guy on social media who he had actually come to one of our barrel picks one time when I was running the club, and his name's Billy Hikes. Billy Hikes. But he hikes here in Kentucky, and he just takes some of the most beautiful photographs of the state. And I just kind of felt inspired by that. And so we selected 3 that we liked, just as kind of an opportunity to, for one, push the brand out into the state, where a lot of these releases were handpicked by clubs. You know, they were only sold within those clubs, whether that was California, Texas, Pennsylvania, South Carolina. And to be honest, I just got tired of my mom asking, like, when can I go find a bottle of New Era?
Fair.
And so, you know, had to make it happen for Mama.
Hey, there's no better reason.
That's right.
No better reason.
That's right.
So, Brandon, what are you getting on what is Nature's Crossing at Natural Bridge, 115 proof?
Well, the nose is really good, but I can't really quite pinpoint what it is on the nose, but I do like that part of it. But the actual pour sip in itself, first part, I got like, I don't know why that it hit me like this, but I'm usually not like this, but I got salted caramel right off the bat. Like just straight pow, punch, salted caramel. And then as it went down, you get that spicy, peppery punch from, the actual bourbon itself, the whiskey itself, giving you that little bit of a hug from the 115, but not enough to burn your chest, set your chest on fire.
But maybe open up your open up the stuffiness,
I agree, 100%. But you could tell, that it has that complexity of flavors just because the age on it. I mean, it's 8 years, so I mean, you can tell that. Especially somebody who is, very, seasoned in, bourbon tasting and things like that. You can pick out those subtle notes and know that, all right, this has got some complexity to it. It's because of the age, because of the proof, because always for me, I mean, you've always had beside the hazmat stuff, but for me, the higher the proof, the barrel strength, to me, that provides so much more flavor from my perspective. I think a lot of times you lose flavor if folks, proof stuff down, things like that, which I get that. There's a place for that. I think it's really good. It's something that I would come back to. Especially now that the colder weather's coming in, campfire stuff, like this is where it's at,
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, for the season we're in, that's a good starting pour. It's got, a little bit of that spice, but I even get some fruitiness in there, that just kind of works perfect for, the temperature has changed, as Zane knows. Mother Nature's lovely at this time of year when it goes from 80 to 50 here in Kentucky, and you warm up a little bit and have something tasty. And I feel like that takes me right to this time of year, truthfully.
Right, 100%. Yeah. So well done. I mean, I really like the first pour for sure. It kind of caught me by surprise. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like it hit me. I was like, oh, okay.
I saw your facial expression.
Like,
the beauty of video is you can't hide anything.
Well, and I'm gonna not. I always wear my, what I'm feeling, my facial expressions, but with that first punch, it hit me. I was just like, man, that's like salted caramel. And then it was like kept going, and I was just like, man, this is really good. So, yeah,
Thank
I
you.
like it.
Now, now, Zane, you mentioned you started the barrel club, and then obviously that transitioned into new era. Now, have you always been like a big into bourbon guy, or did that start kind of during the COVID times? I wasn't big until about then as well. Honestly, this podcast, it's called Hops and Spirits. We were doing a whole lot more hops when we first started, and the show's called Neat and Mixed, and I was mixing drinks, and now I don't. I don't.
You've come a
If that
long
tells
way.
you my journey, what was your journey in bourbon? I mean, when did you start? How'd you get into it then?
Yeah. So, during COVID, we made the totally smart idea to sell our house, my wife and I, and displace ourselves plus our 2-year-old son at the time. And, during construction of our new house, we moved in with my parents. And so basically, because of COVID, you couldn't do anything. So I would come home from work and obviously and immediately like strip down, go take a shower, make sure I was, clean to see the kiddo. But living with my parents for those short 8, 9, 10 months, my stepdad collects and he sips, a variety of whiskey. And honestly, he was outside one evening with a glass of E.H. Taylor small batch. And I came out and I, like obviously, like I've tried it. I've had bourbon, I've had whiskey. I live in Kentucky. You have to. Everybody tries it, but I
Right.
never really felt like an affinity for it. But he was outside. He had just a little bit left of E.H. Taylor small batch in his glass, and so I went out there and I was just like, hit me, like I want to try it. And so, it was equal parts. Like I mean, I have Taylor on my shelf now. You can't see it, but I keep Taylor on my shelf at all times. But it's equal parts. I fell in love with that sip immediately, but it also gave my stepdad and I something to kind of bond over. And so we spent the next 8 or 9 months, going to the standing in lines for the different releases and trying to chase not Pappies, of course, but
Right, right.
the very first like high end bottle I think we got was Parker's Heritage Orange. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Carousel, Caracal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what
carousel.
you're
Yeah,
talking about. I can't
yeah,
ever say it right either, so you're good. You're
Yeah,
in good
yeah.
company.
yeah.
Thanks.
Carousel.
That was like the first one. Like I waited in line and got it, and like we couldn't wait. We got out in the parking lot. We cracked it, and of course here we are, bunch of delinquents on a like Monday afternoon. you know, but
There were
it
no
was
rules
that.
then, really,
Yeah,
with life.
absolutely, absolutely. But it was just a lot of fun. Getting to explore that, and so at that point, I started making friends with the local liquor store. Not really, seeking like allocated product. I didn't know what I was doing. And he offered $5 samples, and so you could go in, you could sample, any of his barrel picks for $5. And if you ended up buying the bottle, he would knock $5 off, which was great for me. It let me try a few
Yeah.
different things. Basically every time I went in. And so just, from building that relationship with him, he used to run a lot of barrel picks through his store for other clubs. And, I was admiring, and I can't remember the club that did it. They took a bullet bourbon, or it might have been a bullet rye, but they painted the entire bottle in green, and they put like a Master Chief from Halo. I don't know if you're a video game, but they took like the Master Chief like dog tags, and they made the bottle look like something out of Halo. And I fell in love with that. I was like the creativity, the customization that comes from like these single barrel picks that you don't really see anywhere else. And so like that was like the first step down like this rabbit hole of the tatering, as people call it. That was kind of like the first step. I started with E.H. Taylor small batch, and I'll tell you, it started with E.H. Taylor small batch. It ended with helping my club book Four Roses, a Weller Foolproof, and a Buffalo Trace, and I didn't get to go on any of the three. I climbed the ranks to try to get because like for me, like I'm a huge roses fan, and to try to climb the ranks to be able to get to do a Four Roses barrel pick
Yep.
was a dream. And then basically once New Era finally started like moving, I was like, guys, I've got to leave. I can't, like, for one, I can't navigate a barrel club while also a brand, but I just don't have time. And so I missed out. And I was so bummed, so bummed. And the worst part is, a matter of fact, the worst part is they went on this barrel pick and they got to come home with those aged in ore bottle caddies
Oh yeah.
as like consolation gifts.
Oh,
Wow. Those aged in ore things are awesome.
They're sweet.
I'm a proud owner of multiples of those, and
Yeah.
and Brandon, it's okay. I could hear my daughter earlier singing in her room.
That's awesome.
Yours, might be having some
Yeah.
fun as well. But
Yes.
dude,
Yes,
that's a hell of a gift.
Oh, that's an awesome gift. Those aged in ore things they're great. They're great for travel. John and I took two sets of them down to Patagonia, Argentina area. Yeah,
Yep.
we did some reviews there.
That's
Oh, yeah.
sweet.
So,
Yeah, it was awesome.
No, I love that. Now, for our second pour, because I think Brandon's going to need a second pour while his wife is helping out with the kiddo, is the Dark Wonders at Mammoth Cave, and this one's is the lightest proof of the night at 113.8 proof.
Not by much, but it is.
I mean,
Ooh, man, that
technically,
smells good.
It's the lightest.
Wow.
We might feel great at the end of this night.
Yep.
I think Hillary just wanted to be, mentioned on the show, and now she's good.
Yeah, I thought I was going to bring her on. I'm just going to sit here and hold her in one hand and talk to you guys and sip in the other. She'll make her debut at some point. Yeah. Man, that's interesting. I get a lot of orange on the nose for sure on this one.
Yeah, this one is a completely different ride than the first one.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Now, can you share, or do you, what the mash bill is?
Oh Lord. Let me pull it up.
Sorry, I
real
didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're good. You're good.
How dare you, Brandon? How dare you do that?
Sorry.
No, but I was gonna say because there's definitely more.
Yeah, because it's completely different for me. And you too, John. It's like a completely different flavor profile than what we had on the, on the Natural Bridge.
Which I was gonna say, Mammoth Cave and Natural Bridge are one's they're totally different
different.
things. So kind of.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing maybe how he named these things.
Yep.
The mash bill is 64, 24, 12
Oh.
On for Mammoth Cave.
for all three.
Oh, really? Okay. 64, 24, 12.
Yep.
See, I can do the math. That equals 100.
I was getting ready to do it on a calculator.
John, I was getting ready to say, man, like you just said, like your first semester you've been doing math at MBA. So if you couldn't rattle that off, and
Granted, it isn't 12 plus 24 plus 64. There's a lot of letters and other things involved in that. So occasionally I need a beverage to wind down after class. So
yeah,
obviously with these high rye mash bills, I'm assuming that was 64-24 rye, correct? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That is
now
really
I can.
good.
It makes a ton of sense with that spice coming in, but and this is what I love about a single barrel, especially when you can try them near each other, because you can go some places. anyone that's been fortunate enough to either go on a barrel pick or be part of like a tour that does it, you could have three barrels, but they could all be very similar. But you can also have like what we're having so far, and that is totally different experiences, which is so fun to see how a barrel can be so different depending on where they're at in the warehouses and so forth.
Yep. Yep. I agree. And this one is just, I don't know what it is. It's just completely different. I know it's the same mash bill, but it's just completely different
Got a little
flavor
funk on the
profile.
end too.
I haven't got the funk yet, but what I did, I get a lot of orange peel on the nose, and then like on the front, I can't quite pinpoint it, but it's just very smooth, very delicate, buttery, if you will. And then just kind of on the back end, it just kind of hits you with this a little pop of the spice, um, from
And
the
this one did.
rye. But for me now, again, preface this too, Zane. For me, I'm weird. I always my favorite is rye. The higher you can go, the better, because for whatever reason, my taste buds, I get sweetness from rye. I don't get spice. I don't get that super spicy, burn your chest off, burn your tongue off. I don't get all that peppery from it. I just get super kind of that sweet caramely butter from it. But
It's the butter. That's
yeah,
actually what I love about a rye.
yeah. See, yeah. So
All ryes have like a basically, and we haven't released it yet. It's coming soon though. We have a 14-year 95.5, and anybody who's asked, obviously, I'm going to let you try it. I'm going to let you sample through it, and give me your opinions. But anybody who's ever asked me, like, what do you get? It basically, imagine taking a stick of butter and just gnawing on it,
yeah,
and it's incredible.
yeah.
Remind me, Jonathan, and I'll send you all samples of
I
that
was getting
too.
ready to say, can I ask?
So,
Hey,
Because
we got cell numbers. We're connected now.
that's
But no,
right.
but it's true, and I'm the same way, and it sounds like you are too, Zane. We are high, and I love this about probably what you were able to do at the liquor store is try different things, and if you're able to know the mash bills, especially to know the mash bills, you get a sense of what you really like because it's like beer. I know I'm not a dark beer lover. I can get to it. I much prefer sours in this because I was able to try those and see that. With bourbon, it's been the same way, and I've definitely Brandon can attest to this. He's pretty much the same way. Is high rye bourbons, and then get me to the rye whiskey, and I'm in heaven. Now, thankfully, because we've gotten to do a few things, our taste buds are expanding a little bit beyond that. But this is a fun
yeah,
fun pour on this
yes,
single barrel.
absolutely, yeah. I, yeah, I'm really enjoying this one, and just go back to the names for a minute. So
Yeah.
what made you go down or come up with and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to name these after these landmark locations in our state, state parks, but they're very famous locations, and they're all famous for their own right, their own various reasons, and in different parts of the state. So what made you go that route and naming these in that way?
Yeah. So I haven't. You all haven't got to the third pour yet.
I'm excited for that one because
Thank you.
that one's close to my heart because that's
That's
where I'm
right.
from.
But to touch on the first two that you've tried. Well, let me start with the idea for the project.
Right.
New Era handpicks the barrels that we bring in, and it's for two reasons. One, we can't afford to buy in lots. We operate very lean. We operate very small. But second to that, it allows us to kind of shake the barrels and see, for one,
Yep.
how much is in it. We can kind of gauge it that way. But two, it allows us to kind of have a say in how the brand is reflected. And so I'm about to burp. The first one of the night. No, no way. Okay, we're good. And so, when
Party
we're
now.
trying through barrels, what we end up doing, we're like, okay, great. We're going to take 10 or 15 of these. And I know we're going to have two or three that set aside just for us as New Era releases. And so we kind of started talking about like, how do we want to enter the Kentucky market? Because we hadn't done anything in the state of Kentucky up until this. And the idea was, one single barrel spread across the entire state. It's just not really, for one, it's not worth it, right? The two people in Moorhead who happened to find the only two bottles in the whole city, congrats, you win, I guess, And so the idea was, let's do a couple single barrels. And then, once we got to two, we were like, well, shoot, let's go ahead and do three.
Why not one more? What's one
right.
more?
What's one more?
That's right.
Let's do one more.
Because when we originally decided to start this project, we were going to do one based on Lexington and one based on Louisville. For one, they're both, big markets here in the state. But also there's a lot of whiskey in Lexington, or the Lexington area, and there's a lot of whiskey in the Louisville area. And basically our distributor just kind of gave us the hammer and was just like, there's no guarantee Lexington won't go to Louisville, Louisville won't come to Lexington. And so obviously being a UK Blue fan, like I can't let that happen. And so we pivoted. And so, the backup plan was showcase, how pretty our state is. And so, landing with Natural Bridge, kind of what you had mentioned with the nose and the palate. It's very, to me, it was, sorry, my voice cracked. To me, it was very like herbal. It was very like effervescent. Is that the word? On the palate. But you'll notice a lot of the barrels that like I handpick, they end up being like really sweet. Where a lot of the barrels that the other guys pick, they end up being kind of like what you see in Mammoth Cave. They're kind of a dark, I don't want to call them musty, but they have a funk to them that I don't think you necessarily see out of some of our other barrels. So, Nature's Crossing, it's just, it's a light pour. It's kind of happy-go-lucky, start your day off. Whereas to me, Dark Wanderers is it's just a deeper of an experience, trying through that pour. And so that was kind of the idea. And of course, Mammoth Cave, just thinking of the funk and the darkness that you find at Mammoth Cave. And then Cumberland Falls was my favorite of the three. So it lucked out. You ended up doing that one third.
So smart.
But honestly, just the first time we cracked that barrel to try it, kind of the words that came out of our mouths was like, "Oh, this is magic! Like this is it."
Kind of like the Moonbow. It's magic.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we landed on Magic Moonbow.
I love that, and for you to be able to do that, I mean, how cool was it to then on the bottles, you've got the picture, you're able to kind of have that kind of unique. If you can see his shirt, New Era's got the old school kind of, I call it the newspaper font,
Mm-hmm.
that you would see at the top of them, in the headers and things like that. So what was it like to kind of, obviously you got the names, what was it like to bring the labels in that bottle and all that to life?
This was a lot of fun. I was going to say a lot of stress, but it was honestly more fun. And I wish I had a bottle over here, I'd show you. But the branding, behind New Era, and that's what the acronym NEWS stands for, is New Era Whiskey and Spirits. But the acronym is NEWS, and so we wanted our bottles and our labels to look like newspapers. So at the end of the day, every single barrel has its own headline, has its own cover story or cover photo, but they all tell like the overarching narrative. If you have a line of New Era bottles side by side, it's just different issues of a newspaper. And I'm a huge fan of like physical media, record collection over there. I hate to admit it, but I got rid of my CDs. Although I hear they're coming back.
What?
But sitting down trying to get the artwork done, and trying to figure out how we wanted to, what we wanted to call these releases. It was a little bit of, kind of banging your head on the wall, because we really did want to make like a really positive statement here in the state. And, to sound biased, I think we did a good job of showcasing the beauty of the three places. And for me, like the crowning achievement was receiving a letter from Andy Bashir, stating some remarks about what we were doing with these releases. That was kind
That's
of
awesome.
like that was
That's
like
really cool.
okay, we did it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. With these releases, decided to. We wanted to do something, additional for the state, and so we offered to donate $3,000 to Team Blue for the flood relief victims from the floods last year and the year before. And that was, I think, what really got Andy Bashir interested. But, I hate to say I'm not born here, right? I was born in West Virginia, but I'm raised in Kentucky. We love our state, and it's that simple. So to be able to bring these to shelf, and I have yet to find them on a shelf. Let me go ahead and I've looked everywhere, and I cannot find them. But to be able to have these on shelves in stores, because we get messages like, where can I find your product? And to be able to say like, hey, check this liquor store. I've heard they got some, and then to get the message back and be like, a picture. It's like, I found one, like it never gets old. It hasn't got old yet.
That's awesome.
But the big question is, has Mom found one yet?
She hasn't. She has
no.
not. That's why I'm looking for them. And I'll tell you, it's so funny. I have to call like some of the local liquor stores, and I'm just like, hey, you all got any of that new era in? Like obviously not pretending like, hey, I'm that guy. But being that guy, I'm just like, do y'all have any of that new era single barrel in? And of course the liquor store guy's like, yeah, we don't know what the hell that is.
You'll get there.
I'm
Because
just
these
like-
have been some good pours. And
Thank you.
Brandon, shall we try that one that looks to be near and dear to your heart from where you're from? The
Yes.
Magic Moonbow at Cumberland Falls, 115 proof.
Yes. I'm excited to try this one just because it is, like you said, near and dear to my heart. That's where I'm from. I grew up probably 20, 30 minutes away from Cumberland Falls. So we used to go there all the time, just it was just kind of easy thing to do, a lot of hiking. Of course, the falls is neat, it's a beautiful place. But there's a lot of people out there that say a Moonbow is bullshit. I'm here to say it is not bullshit.
My man.
I have witnessed it, seen it, saw it with my own two eyes. Like, it is a real thing. And it is, if you're ever lucky enough to see it, it is pretty damn cool. It's pretty cool. So it is a real thing.
If Brandon claims it, it must be true. And that's a fact.
That's a fact. That is a fact. You heard it here
Also,
first.
Brandon, is that where you got your love of hiking, and it grew into 18-mile hikes up a mountain eventually?
Well, John, now let's not get carried away. Back in that time, I didn't do any hiking. It was more or less just hiking from the parking lot to the overlook where the falls are. Like, I didn't really venture around up that much. I did a few times just to kind of, do something different. But because if you go there 20 times, you've seen all of what the area is. But there is some really cool other like if you go up away and up in the mountains away from the falls, there is some really cool hikes that lead you to some other falls. There's some other waterfalls out there up in the mountains, which is really cool. But no, the Moonbow is real deal. It's legit. People say it's bullshit. It's not bullshit. You just got to get lucky. It's got to be a clear night, perfect moon, and then the mist from the water hits the light from the moon, makes a bow.
That's right.
Perfect. It's beautiful.
Magic.
Beautiful. It's exactly magic.
Brandon, you ready for a pun?
I'm ready. I'm good down. I'm always down for a good pun.
Some might say you got lucky in Kentucky. Sorry, you said lucky, and it just immediately clicked in my head.
I mean,
You can tell there's some dads on this show right now.
I did. Yep,
That's right.
for sure. For sure.
Oh,
But man, all right. Let me dive back into this. Hold on.
Oh,
Dive in.
we distracted him.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good.
I'm just happy I now know where his love of hiking came from.
It's not. That's a stretch.
So there's a guy that on a few trips we've gone on some long hikes now.
Yeah, that's really good. That is good. I like it. It's funny we talk about the labels. I had to honestly. I was looking at your labels, and they are really cool. Like, I mean, it's a cool label. I love the. It just looks like a really sophisticated bottle of bourbon. Honestly, like especially with you've got what you got the you got the over the cork label, you've got the maiden label, and then you've got the secondary label that's kind of separated at the bottom. It gives us the deets of the bourbon. But I like it. It gives you that old school like we talked about, the old school newspaper.
See, I know I like this guy.
Extra read all
High
about it.
rye. I'm a recovering newspaper guy. That was a day job of mine for a little while. See,
Yeah.
Let me show you. It's our first release. First release ever. And we do these. Let me preface all of our online releases we refer to as Sunday papers. It allows us to have one, uniformity, and two, of course, to play on the brand. We actually did a crossword.
That's
And,
awesome. That's
Funny
cool.
enough, though. Thank you.
Yeah,
Funny
that's
enough, though, after we got them packaged, we got them sent out. Somebody posted in our social club on Facebook, or we have a little Facebook group called the Newsroom, and somebody posted on there, and there was just like, they've maybe drank like that much, and they're like, "Look, I've only had this amount, but for some reason I can't solve this. Like, am I that far gone?" And of course I'm like, "Hold up." And so I started digging into it, and there's errors on this, and so it can't be solved. And so now people nicknamed it the Impossible Sunday Paper.
That's awesome.
But thank you. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. We, like I said, I have an affinity for physical media, and obviously you don't see newspapers anymore, hardly. And growing up, staying with my grandparents a lot, I'd be the one that would run outside my underwear and grab the newspaper off the driveway and run it back in. And so I've always loved, the idea of a soapbox and yelling out into the abyss of, so and so did this today, and it's fantastic. But yeah, no, I really appreciate that. We wanted something that looked, kind of screamed vintage, but being customizable, being in the shape of a glass that it's kind of vintage, but not necessarily like an super old style glass.
Right. Yeah.
That would allow us to kind of blend kind of weave in between new school and old school.
I thought you were going to tell me when you were talking about the crossword, and the guy couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me that you had to drink it down far enough because on the back side of the inside of the bottle it revealed the answers.
He's like, I got an idea now.
I thought that's what you were going to tell me.
Brandon, you get a free bottle. When that happens, you get a bottle.
First it was T-shirts, and now he's coming up with great labeling ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You think about it. Like, you have to drink it. You have to drink the bottle to reveal the answers.
Oh, that's a slick idea. I like that.
So,
like
yeah.
I'm gonna write that down. When it's done, I'll send you both a bottle.
Please, that'd be awesome.
Love it.
Thank you. Let's go, John.
And you talk about using the newspaper. Like you said, you got the Sunday paper, you got the headline series. I mean, what was it like to kind of bring those, the Sunday paper, the headlines, because those are some of your previous releases before these three, that the park series that kind of gets out. So what was it like to build those ones and then switch over to the other?
So the first Sunday paper one, I guess it's just Sunday paper. But Sunday paper one itself was, obviously it was humbling, I guess, to see it finished, right? And obviously, months later I found out that it was messed up, and then everybody blamed me, and whatever. But so it was humbling, but it was also it was kind of a train wreck, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
When we were handpicking the barrels, we shook it, we gauged it, and we're like, okay, this is probably going to be 120 bottles or whatever, or maybe 100 bottles. And so we listed them on our website, and we listed them at I think 75 or 80 bottles. It's like, hey, this is a pre-sale. We plan to have these to you as part of our Black Friday. We kind of dropped on Black Friday. That was kind of the plan. We didn't go as planned, first off. We totally, overshot, and very, very much so under-delivered timeline-wise. It was our first time ever doing it. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. Well, then, the Buff Turkey craze started. And the people were like, oh, the first new era release is a Buff Turkey. And so, it sold through. It sold out, and then here's everybody waiting. Well, then we finally get it dumped. We finally get it bottled. And there's, I think, 58 bottles.
Oh, no.
And so then we had to reach back out to the people who, obviously they came in at the end of the pre-order or whatever, but we had to be like, hey, not only have you had to wait an extra month, but also we don't even have it. It didn't, we totally over guesstimated yield. So that was, to learn that was a really hard, it's kind of like taking a golf ball to the crotch. I've never had that happen, but I just assume it would suck. And so
it's not, no. Yeah. I've been hitting the leg with a golf ball. It's not great. I can't imagine any higher.
That's right.
But you guys, also you could have run with it and been like, it's like the baseball card that's printed wrong with the wrong guy, or what I'm saying, double, what I'm saying, just, hey, misprint. Here you go.
That's basically what I did.
Yeah.
And more so to save my own ego, my own self-conscious.
That's fair.
But after Sunday Paper 1, obviously came Sunday Paper 2, right?
Yeah.
And we released it. I mean, we announced it. We kind of let everybody know, hey, here's the date. We sent out, the people who follow our email listing and whatnot. We have it dumped. Here's the actual yield. Let's go. And we crashed the online retailer's website. Completely shut it down. Obviously that led to a lot of very angry people. So the people who were angry on Sunday Paper 1 are now angry again on Sunday Paper 2.
But this time you could go, wasn't me. Well, I didn't. I
Right.
didn't.
And so to try and save face, the newsroom itself, like we handpick barrels for that group specifically. And the big difference, I have one over there, but I'm not gonna jump up and go dig for it. But the main difference between like our standard headline series single barrel and the newsroom single barrels is they're adorned with gold caps and gold foil. The idea behind it is just to help separate like our social space, and
Right.
everyone else's. And so we had that like barrel also bottled, ready to go. And so after we crashed the website, obviously we were on the phone with them, the online retailer, and it's like, they're apologizing. They're trying to figure it out. And I was like, quit apologizing. I have a weird solution. Let's just throw an entire another barrel up and just not tell anybody until like 5-10 minutes before. So the idea behind that was like, because they were telling us, there was like 40,000 pings and we think they're bots. And I'm like, yeah, of course they're bots, because there's no reason 40,000 people would try to order, a brand second release. And so the idea was, drop it kind of last minute, make it out, just kind of make it secretive just enough. So that the people who are, if there were people actually using bots, that sort of thing, wouldn't necessarily catch on. And so we dropped it. And we also, that's another thing, we also had it password protected. That was another thing we did to try to help mitigate that like spawn clicking. And so we dropped it. We told everybody like 2 hours before, like 7 p.m. be there. And that was kind of it. And so we dropped it. I went to see the Ava Brothers at Rupp Arena, and I get a phone call during the concert. The website crashes again.
I was there.
Complete, utter, like so bad this time that it started like creating false orders for people. And so like Jonathan would have got on to order a bottle. Instead, he ordered 12 bottles.
Oh no.
And then it would cancel him and he got 0 bottles.
Oh no.
But then it would allocate his bottles to Brandon, and it was a mess.
Yay for me.
Yeah. And
You're welcome.
yeah. But we had, again, it was an 8-year rye, and I think it had like 130 bottles, maybe. I'd have to look, but I think it had like 130. But we somehow ended up with like 170 some orders, and we had it strictly set with a password lock. We also limited it to 2 per order. Like it was supposed to automatically kick people out if they tried to buy more than 2,
Right.
just to try to help,
Right.
spread the opportunity. And it backfired again.
Yeah.
And I'm still dealing with that one. Thankfully, like we're coming to a head on it.
Yeah.
People have mostly been understanding, but
Oh man, you just never know. And I told Brandon you're welcome. I gave him those 12 bottles. But Brandon, I got to know, what's your thoughts on the Magic Moonbow here?
So that's what
Again,
I've been trying.
Totally different than obviously
Completely
Mammoth
different.
Cave, and I think to me even different, very different than Natural Bridge. Same family, I think, that as the Natural
think
Bridge
it's-
one.
So for me, on this one, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's very good, but I don't think it's my favorite. It's just, me being honest. Like I get some. I don't know why, but this is weird. But I get some scotchy notes, Scotch whiskey from this one. Which again, maybe that's what you went for because it's magic, Harry Potter, like was throw some, some kind of curveball in there for me. But I get. Don't get me wrong, I really like it, but I don't think it's my favorite. I wanted it to be my favorite, but I don't think it is. But I do think it's very good. But I do get that. I do get some Scotch some Scotch whiskey, non-peated Scotch, mind you. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. It's weird, very weird, but in a
Interesting.
good way. Which magic? Everybody just come to magic.
Single barrel.
Go
Single
back to
barrel.
the magic. The magic of a single barrel.
That's right.
I'm acting
So
like I've
what?
got an imaginary wand.
Which one is your favorite then?
Honestly, that's what I've been doing. I've been sitting here re-pouring and doing one sip, one sip, one sip, one sip. Right now, it's Mammoth Cave. Like this one is just like the nose of it is just like this it's kind of Christmassy, like with the and folly all mixed together, like Thanksgiving, Christmas has a warm hug on the nose, and then it's just very just kind of like that, just smooth baking spices, butter, cinnamon, just a touch, and then you kind of get that just warm blanket hug at the end. Like it's just I don't know, like it's very good. Like the Mammoth Cave one is.
Thank you.
So this
I've
last
already
one,
I've already finished my Mammoth Cave.
I finished the last one. So
So
two
yeah.
out of three for for us. We each got one there. I mean, it's like I said earlier. I just love the fact that you get to try three products, same age. Same mash bill, same came from the same place. Obviously, probably a few different spots in a warehouse, or a couple different versions of a warehouse. But I love the variety because you get to see one your taste buds,
Yeah.
two your team's taste buds,
Yeah.
and you know Brandon and I, there are certain brands that we just line up with. Whoever's doing their picking or however they blend, clearly we are brethren, and like it is very similar. But there are some on the Mammoth Cave. We talked a little bit beforehand. It was going to be a little different, but I kind of enjoyed it too. But I've enjoyed each one because they are different, but they have that underlying rye spice that I
Yeah.
always enjoy, and
I will say
clearly I like the
this.
magic of the Moonbow.
Well, I will
Once
say
it's going.
this. I went back and we were talking about Natural Bridge and how you mentioned it had that that kind of like that kind of like woodsy evanescence, that kind of like for me, that kind of like deal going on. I went back and just smelled my glass. It had been dry, empty glass, and I smelled it. I'm not gonna lie, and it's probably I don't even know if there's probably a word for it or a term for it. I don't know what it is. When somebody says something and you immediately get it in your mind. Um, that glass smelled like the outdoors. It smelled like I was hiking. It smelled like I was, fall leaves, pine straw, pine needles, whatever it is. Like it was just all that bottled
See, I
up.
told you like hiking now.
And don't get me started. you know.
Sorry, continue on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what that is. But now it's funny because I went back and tried the Cumberland Falls, and now I'm just like, man, I don't know, this is really good too. So I don't know. I've been trying to like cleanse my palate with water in between to kind of give us that thing, but um, I'll just say, like, I think just all of it across the board, fantastic. Like
No,
even in its own right, whatever you're feeling, and it's just whatever you grab. You have all three bottles sitting on your bar cart or on your shelf. You come home on a weekend, weeknight, you can't go wrong. I don't think
no,
so.
no, no, not at all.
Um,
And Brandon, you will love this. Zane, correct me if I'm wrong. 8-year single barrel, $99. Is that right?
Yep.
I do want to ask. So this is the. Um, so again, just so you the newspaper series. So like again, so just for folks that don't know, especially me, like where can we find new releases? Where can we purchase them? Um, you know, where can we do that? How is there different series? Obviously, there's maybe I saw there's a headliner series, newspaper series. So give us kind of the lowdown of what that looks like. Are those different releases at different times? Just kind of walk us
Yeah.
through that.
First off, can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I muted my mic so I could cough, and then
Yeah.
I was just making sure. So, yeah, so we're mostly online. Um,
Okay.
we have a couple online partners, retail partners. Um, Prior to this Kentucky statewide release, you've not really been able to find us in retail shelves. You're starting to see us now out west, California, Nevada, I think Arizona as well. And then we did like some charity barrel picks down for a whiskey foundation in Texas. Um,
Hmm.
but prior to the Kentucky, we had only really done I think two barrel picks that ended up going into retail stores. But even then, those were partnered with the clubs, and they just came in and bought them.
Yeah.
So really to answer your question, online on our website, newareawhiskey.com, which we keep track of and I need to update it. So now that I'm talking, I'm going to make myself sound silly, but we keep record of like all of our old barrel picks, kind of in volumes, like they would
Right.
the archives of a newspaper. And
That's
then
awesome.
we post new ones as we release them. With these, they're the first of many, I'm sure, for the state of Kentucky.
Hmm.
To kind of touch back on why would you do three? Why would you do multiple? The brand itself is just 8-year minimum single barrels. We source nothing less than 8-year, and we release nothing less than 8-year. So with that, part of that comes from like the barrel club mentality of, we go and we're tasting through them. We're like, okay, this is it. We think it's ready now, right? Versus taking it and sitting on it for a few years and then releasing it at the 8-year. But so, online, I'm sorry, I totally just went off on a tangent. I was swerving.
No, you're on the topic. Like you
Yeah,
really
thank you.
you're right on par.
Thank you. But to explain, I guess, the differences. So the single barrel series is what we refer to as the headline series.
Okay.
And really that is, it just allows everyone to kind of follow, yeah, your label's unique, right? Every single barrel is unique.
Okay.
But it allows us to try to keep some sort of cohesiveness to, Jonathan's barrel pick, Brandon's barrel pick, my barrel pick. And so they all fall under the headline series. And then, Sunday Paper is, our own single barrel releases. And those are just barrels, that we've handpicked to say like, hey, this is what we want to do. And, we have, unique and interesting reasons why. For example, and I think, Brandon, you might have missed it earlier, but like Dark Wanders, for example, it was a funk
Hmm.
that we fell in love with.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of why, like, that one ended up making it.
Yeah.
Being a single barrel brand, I think your general consumer might see these three and think, like, they're all the same barrel. They're just, different pretty labels, or, what even is a single barrel, that sort of, mentality. And the idea with these really was to kind of showcase the beauty of, for one, Kentucky, right, with the labels, but the difference that you can find in a single barrel, especially
Right.
when they're all aged the same. They're all proofed basically the same, pretty darn close at least. But the idea really is to try to showcase, what you can do with a single barrel, right? And so, the brand itself, we do nothing but single barrels. So, prior to this, in order to find us, you had to buy it from a club. You had
Right.
to, be a part of that liquor store that did the barrel pick, with us, whether it was out in
Right.
California or it was in Massachusetts, wherever.
Hmm.
but right now, we're getting ready to launch our new website, and that we're going to release some new products on there, which I'm really excited for. And then we're just going to keep pounding away at Kentucky. There's no better place for bourbon whiskey than Kentucky. you know,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell us. Obviously, where you source from, but do you source strictly from Kentucky?
So our bourbon, yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Now, why? Again, for this is just for me, and if I missed it earlier, I apologize. But why? You mentioned a lot of out west, California. You even mentioned New England. So why why that market specifically? Is it? I know Kentucky has strict laws on things that has. If you order stuff online, alcohol related, they have very very strict laws what could be coming in. Especially from my experience, when I go out to wine country, um, and you can't really ship wine into Kentucky because of bourbon laws. Um, so I'm just curious for me, honestly.
yeah,
Maybe.
that's a great question. So the first barrels, we were trying to hit barrel clubs, right? I mean, again, the premise of the brand is community, and that's what we came from. And to be honest, that's what we knew. That's what I was comfortable in. I'm still most comfortable in going to
Right.
these like barrel club tastings and like that sort of stuff. Um, but the flip side to that was we needed to maximize the amount of profit that we could make on the
Of course.
barrels. The first, because we micro loaned the first 9 barrels. I had to borrow from my brother-in-law, a friend of mine, and we only bought 9 barrels. We took the profits from those and we rolled that in, and that's how we got to where we are.
Right.
But we had to maximize our profit, and distributor margins cut into that. So we actually forced everybody to come pick up the product from like where we bottle, as like a gift shop pickup. That allowed us to kind of skirt some of those margins. And you can thank COVID for that. The House bill that Bashir did during COVID, to allow like gift shop sales like that. And so we really had no intention of distribution really at all. But I was sitting at work, when I was doing my previous full-time gig, and I just started getting these phone calls on like Instagram. And I didn't know the account. It was the account name was like a liquor store name, very very generic. And so I stepped away from my desk and I answered it, and on the New Era account first off, and like we only had like 200 followers. Why you're calling me? Like, I don't know. Well, I answered it and ended up being a liquor store owner from California, and he was just like, "We're in Kentucky. We want to buy a barrel. Where are you?" And I'm just like,
I'm at work.
I'm at work. Like, what do you mean? Like they're trying to find our address. Like they couldn't find us. And so, luckily they were in Kentucky another day, so I was able to be off the following day and to go meet them. And that kind of started that like role. And I think, out west, for when they chase proof, a lot of the people out west, I see a lot of them, looking for higher proof, but they're also looking for like the new thing, right? Like the new, they want to kind of be on the forefront of this new brand.
Right. Right.
But on top of that, there's also like, and I love it. I think it's really fun because it's all like done in like good fun. But like all the liquor stores compete with each other.
Yeah.
And so like, because this liquor store did a single barrel pick, like we had another one immediately follow up like, "Hey, what did they pick? We want to pick something better. Like we want to pick something older. We want to pick something higher proof. What can you help us find that's better than my cousin that owns this liquor store?" or my
Right.
friend that owns this one, and that kind of just snowballed into. We took a trip out there back in August, just a short 1 week trip, and we did like 18 barrels. Which is incredible for this guy who is having to give the same story at every single liquor store, and it's just like, I just like whiskey. I'm not a
Yeah.
sales guy.
Right.
Like you're not. I'm not here to pitch you my barrel. I just want to tell you like what I did and what I like to do. It's like when I'm not drinking whiskey, I'm probably playing with my dog or my kids.
Yeah.
And I think the people out there really seem to gravitate towards that. I think there's something to be said about being able to kind of put myself, not that I like want to ever be like recognized as some sort of face for a brand, because I think that's silly, but to kind of show face, like we're not just another NDP, we're not just another distillery.
Right.
Like you buying a barrel puts food on my table, right? And I think people really just fell in love with that. But also the custom labels and the high proofs and the buff turkey did not hurt.
Well, and you mentioned this, and I feel like this is a perfect way to wrap it up, because at the beginning you talked about magically falling into that, because Brandon and I were at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival this year, and there was a brand that also had gotten their hands on some buff turkey, and the lines were very, 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 very long, and the bottles were very, very, very expensive. So you mentioned just, sometimes dumb luck is just a perfect way to run a business. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're just like, oh shit, like you're really offering me this, like that worked. So to wrap us up, you got to tell us the story of how you all managed to, find some of that.
Yeah, so we were, we'd finally gotten like our labels approved. We knew we wanted to start with a Kentucky straight bourbon, and we were just kind of trying to build those relationships. For one, I'll tell you, it's really hard to find distillers, brokers, third party like wholesalers that will let you come in and like taste barrels. That is shaping up to be very difficult. And a lot of that comes from like, hey, we want to come in, we'll only try one or two. And then I kind of butter them up with like we're buddies. I'm going to try 5 to 10 now. Thank you.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
we'd finally had that together. And I got a phone call back from one of the wholesalers that was just like, hey, something weird came across my desk. Like I knew you were wanting something like unique and interesting. And it's a 15-year-old, distilled in Frankfurt. And of course I'm like, I'm in, like, I'm super interested. Like that sounds weird enough to me. And so we immediately the next day I took off work, called in the sick, and I drove up and I got to taste through a handful of them and fell in love. And, then it came, paying for them, and it was like, holy crap, how do we do this? And so we were able to kind of bankroll it. And, I tell people it was like micro funding, but it was micro loaning.
Right.
It was crowdfunding, right? It was,
Yeah.
I went to my old barrel club and I was like, hey, do you all want first dibs at one of these things?
Yeah.
And of course they were like, bro, you're great. Like, sure, let's do it. Like, that sounds super interesting.
Right.
And so we ran through the first like 4 or 5 barrel picks, and then the craze started. And then it was like, we hadn't even sold the first one yet, and people were already trying to like, in search of on the internet. We hadn't even like finished getting them to people, and people were already like, this is now worth twice what it cost. And it's just like, slow down. Like, this is nuts. We, like the shortest that we did and the highest proof that we did was 140, I'm going to lie now, 145 point something, 145.2 maybe. And we released 23 bottles. And, the people that got them, we tried to like make it fair. It was, one per person, And I found out one guy ended up like buying 4 because he was PMing people in line. It was just like, hey, if you don't want it, I'll take it. Hey, if you don't want it, I'll take it. But then people started like, I'm totally being candid here. I saw one of those bottles trade for a Michter's 20 year, and that like broke my heart. Like, that is my dream bottle. My dream bottle is an M20, and to see someone else trade like one of my bottles for that, I was just like, what do you mean? Like, how was I not that lucky?
Well, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I see why it broke your heart for one reason, but also you should be very proud of that
Sure.
because all of us know what a Michter's 20 year goes for on secondary. Like,
Yeah,
that's wow.
it means a
But
lot.
again, I mean, I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't a straight sell cash value. But again, if somebody's trading a Michter's 20 year, either that person who's trading it is the dumbest person I've ever known or the smartest person I've ever known. I don't know. Like, I mean,
Well,
like
hey,
they
that
know what
traded up.
somebody's got a
Yeah.
Michter's 20 year and they're trading it. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. They know the value of bourbon. So that's crazy.
But that was like it was both like eye opening and
Yeah.
you know I mean it was surreal, but also like it did break my heart a little bit because I was just like, you just got that from me, and now you're getting my favorite, like my dream bottle, my dream
Yeah.
pour.
Yeah.
But it was cool, and
Yeah.
I had, and I'm trying to wrap it up. I'm sorry, I'll make it
No, you're
quick.
good.
I had a question one time, it was very like sharp and to the point, but it was like, how do you feel like the buff turkey craze like built your brand? And I really hated that question
Yeah.
because, like I said, it was a mix of dumb luck and like right time, right place. But like I don't think we wanted something unique, we wanted something interesting, and we still like we push for that now. Like these that you're trying today.
Are fantastic.
Thank you. The distillery these came from, you don't really see 8 year from them, and that was like a huge push for us. Was like, I mean, you can't. I don't think you can go to the store and buy their 8 year. But we looked into some of these barrels, and I think there was somebody on Discord the other night had asked me something similar to that, and it was like, if I had to like sum us up, we are like a ragtag, just like lucky group of people. Like, I mean, that's it, man. I spent 8 years in healthcare prior to this. I went full time this like 2 months ago. Like, it's just just snowball.
Well, man, what you're doing,
That's awesome.
your taste buds are fantastic.
Thanks.
I can't wait to see what you got coming next. And honestly, if people don't understand how this works, relationships matter in a lot of
Yes.
things in life. But
Yes.
especially when you're working with a bunch of brokers and things like this. And dude, Zane, I'm thankful that apparently it's time to go because your lights are getting turned off.
Whoa.
The magic has run out. But dude, man, this has been a blast, and thank
been
you for sharing
so
these
fun.
because these were a lot of fun to try. So different.
Yep.
8 year
Thanks.
single barrels, $99.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get any better than that, Brandon.
You can't. You can't. Just saying. Like, if you're a bourbon enthusiast, if you want to take that roller coaster ride, 8 year, high proof, you have to. You got to. For that price, you got to. So
Thank you.
Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely.
And fantastic all the way around. Yep.
So I'll sign off with, we're downtown Lexington. Come by for a drink.
Okay.
Man,
This is a
made that
personal.
happen.
Hold on, wait. I'm not inviting the world. I'm inviting you two. I mean,
Yes.
the world can come too. But
Yes.
we're downtown Lexington. We're in the process of launching our DSP.
Okay.
So come down for a drink. It's on me.
Totally.
Cheers to that,
Tell
and
us,
Zane.
tell us when to come. Cheers.
Cheers to some great pours, man.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Cheers, man.
Y'all be good.